Hi, this is David at MASH IT. Now, following on from our previous video where we reviewed the ROG XG17 portable gaming monitor, I want to do a quick video just showing off the ITX sort of travel sort of system I'm putting together at the moment. Now, this is something I've been working towards for quite some time, and I've been through a lot of ITX case and a lot of different pieces of equipment trying to make myself quite a mobile ITX rig. I do love laptops, I love gaming laptops, but you never get that full performance out of a laptop that you do out of an actual desktop. Plus, it's nice and easy that every time a new graphics card or processor comes out, you can upgrade desktop, whereas you can't on a laptop. Now, recently I did a video on the Ghost, and I really enjoyed the Ghost. It was a great machine, but I just found, although it was more powerful than this Dan, the cooling was better on the Ghost than this Dan, it wasn't as easy to move around. The thing I love about this Dan, I had it years ago and I got rid of it because I got bored of it and I thought, I'll just try something better. I've pretty much gone full circle and come back to the Dan purely because of its size. It's a little bit higher than the Ghost S1 that we reviewed, but what's great about it is it's nice and solid, so it's easy to pick up, but it's also narrower, so you can actually grab the top of it and you can just twist it and lift it and go. So this is why I've chosen now to go back to the Dan to make it my sort of portable travel setup. Not that we can really go too far at the moment. So what we've basically got here is a Bluetooth keyboard. This is a Keychron keyboard. I bought it for a Mac, but it's Mac and Windows. You've got different keycaps you can use. But the thing I like about it, it is Bluetooth, or you can just plug in a USB-C cable. And I found, just casual gaming on it, Bluetooth seems to be absolutely fine for that. And then what I've got is I just bought myself a little wrist rest to make it a bit more comfortable because it is quite a high keyboard. And then I've also bought myself a Razer Basilisk wireless mouse. And the reason I've gone all wireless is because nowadays it is almost as good as wired keyboards and mice. You're not going to notice that latency like you would have done years ago. And it's so much more convenient to plug in a dongle into the back of this tiny little case. And that's it, less cables to plug in when you're actually setting up at your destination. So what I've also got is the Razer Nari wireless headset. It's a really comfortable headset by Razer. It's quite expensive. This is the middle range one. They do a Nari Essential, a standard Nari, and a Nari Ultimate. The thing I love about this Razer Nari headset, although it's expensive at about £100, I like the fact that you can swivel the cups, it's adjustable, it's comfortable on your head. You've got a microphone that you can just tuck away when you finish, which makes it easy for portability. The actual wireless dongle pops into the actual headset itself, so if you're not leaving it in the actual case, you can store it in here, and it's sort of got a little magnet in as well, so it just sticks in. And the sound quality and the battery life is great. So this for me has been a fantastic wireless headset, and I've been through quite a few. And obviously the piece de resistance of this entire setup is the XG17, which we've recently reviewed. Now this has been like the final piece in the puzzle for me, because obviously I've always had ITX cases, I've always loved them, I love tinkering with them, and I love the fact that you can just pick it up and go with it. I've had the keyboard and mouse and headset for a while, but I've always struggled to find a decent portable monitor. And up until recently, I've been carrying around a 25-inch Dell 240Hz screen. And that is really cumbersome to try and carry that around, as well as this entire little mini setup that I've got going on here. So by switching to this 17-inch XG17, I can stick that in the bag with the rest of the kit. Now it is quite heavy to travel with in comparison to a laptop, don't get me wrong, but what you're getting is a full desktop experience here, albeit with a 17-inch screen. Having used it around the office and around my house and other places, it takes me about a minute to unpack it and plug it in, and it takes again about a minute to plug it away. So it is not as convenient as a laptop, but once you're up and running, you've got that full desktop experience, and it does make a massive difference. You've got a comfortable keyboard, a decent mouse, and this unobtrusive little ITX case sitting out the way. Now I'm going to be putting links down below for the products that we've got here if there is anything you want to actually look at in greater detail, and I will link the review to this XG17 because we have released that over the last couple of days in case you wish to watch that. But now we're going to just take a quick look at what we've got in this Dan A4 case. So I just want to focus on the Dan A4 for just a minute or so. In this time where it's difficult to buy PCs and components because everything seems to be like on back order or unavailable, especially with the GPU shortage, I've pretty much thrown this together, and everything pretty much in this case is second-hand. There's been a couple of benefits of doing that. Firstly, I've saved quite a bit of money doing it, especially in the market where everyone's after an RTX 3000 series. I've picked up a 2000 series card, and the benefit of that has been, if I show you the back, now the 2000 series cards, the 2060s, 2070s and 2080s, they've still got a USB-C port on them. They've removed that for the 3000 series of cards. Now, to make this a much easier setup, I find by having the USB-C port on here, I've got one cable which goes from here straight out to my XG17 monitor, gives me my 240 Hz display, and actually powers the monitor. So all I'm plugging in is my power cable and a USB-C, and everything else is wireless on the PC. So that's the only cables I'm plugging in. So that, having the 2000 series card, which I bought second hand, a 2080, has been an absolute time saver for me over a 3000 series, although I haven't quite got the power of the 3000. This is the Dan A4 V4. This is the latest one with a USB-C port on the front. I'm just going to pop it open so we can see inside. I'm sure you've all seen reviews on this before if you're into ITX cases, but it's quite a tidy little machine. What I've got inside here is a Corsair SF600 Platinum PSU. This is more than capable of powering the entire system, which consists of a 2080 and an Intel 8700K. So again, I've not gone for the newest range of components. Everything I've bought here I've either picked up off forums, Amazon or eBay. Now for the cooler, the biggest problem with this Dan is you don't get a great deal of cooler height. It's about 48mm, so your main options are either the Noctua L9i or 9A, depending if you've got Intel or AMD, or the Black Ridge cooler. I was originally going to put on a Black Ridge cooler, but there's a couple of downsides to me to using that, and I have got one and tried it. Firstly, it makes it impossible to get to your RAM slots and your SSD if you do wish to change those in future, and I'm always mucking around and changing parts of the PC, so that was a pain. And also I found that there was a fair bit of turbulence using it with the 90mm fan under the BlackRock. Enough that it annoyed me and I ripped it out. So what I've got instead, and again second hand off eBay because I don't think you can buy them new anymore, so I pull the fan off there. This is the Thermolab LP53. This is completely copper and gives great cooling performance, and we can actually cool my 8700K at stock. I wouldn't overclock it, but it'll cool it at stock, and it does it with this tiny little 90mm fan. This is just the Noctua 90mm slim fan. So I did initially put in the L9i in here, the Noctua L9i, because that's just the sort of the stable, it fits in any sort of case ITX cooler. But with the 8700K, it just wasn't capable of keeping it cool. It'd shoot straight up to 100C and start throttling like crazy. So that's when I started looking for something better and picked up this LP53 cooler. This has been brilliant. It keeps my 8700K cool, although this fan does ramp up quite a bit if you're benchmarking, but in gaming, this fan doesn't even hit full speed, and its temps are like sort of late 70s. Absolutely perfect for an ITX build like this, and I haven't even undervolted the 8700K yet. That's next on my to-do list. Now the biggest issue with something like this Dan A4 is purely the sort of the cable management, and that is the hardest part. You want to be using your zip ties and finding every crevice you can to sort of hide cables. Now I've got quite a lot crammed into here, so not only have I got a 25mm fan, a 50mm fan at the bottom, sort of extracting hot air out of the system, I've also got a hard drive screwed into the front panel as well. I'm just going to whiz it round and show you the 2080 graphics card. Now these side panels just pop straight off. You can screw them in at the bottom if you want to make them more stable. Just for today's video, I've left the screws off so I can pop them straight off to show you. So here we see here the EVGA RTX 2080, which is a lovely dual slot card, fits in here beautifully, doesn't get too hot, and I do undervolt it. And when it's undervolted and I'm gaming, it doesn't even get that loud. And here you can get a better view of the fans. Obviously there's less cables on this side, so you can see what you're working with. Now this is surprisingly easy. If you take your time with the cabling, it's surprisingly easy to put this case together, more so than a lot of other PCs I've done. I'm so happy with the way this performs with these components in here. Everything's adequately cooled, it doesn't get too loud, and games run absolutely flawless on this 2080 and an 8700K. I think this is the absolute sweet spot at the moment for sort of 1080p, sort of high frame per second gaming on a budget. Right, I'm just going to put this back together, so I'm going to pop these panels back on the sides. There we go. Let's show you the front. So you see it's quite minimalistic. The front panel's got very little on it. One power button and one USB-C port. That's it. Nice and simple. So that pretty much brings us to the end of the video. So it's taken me a number of years to really get where I'm at a point where I'm happy with my build. And the last piece of the puzzle, as I said, is this screen. Finally having a mobile screen that I can take this with me now makes my life so much easier carrying this around. And certainly going back to the Dan was a great choice for me, because as much as I loved the Ghost S1, it was not as easy to carry around as this Dan A4. It's also about getting the right peripherals, and certainly wireless does make a big difference with a sort of setup like this as well for me. Before I had the wires and you're constantly sort of like plugging your mouse, keyboard and everything in and mucking around, sort of trying to get your wires out the way. Having this move over to wireless has made such a difference, and I'm finally at a stage now where I'm really happy with this setup. I'm going to be using this for quite a while now, I hope. And the good news is, when I do want to upgrade, I can just pop a new graphics card into this Dan. If you've got any questions or if you need any advice or you're doing something similar, please let me know in the comments down below and I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as I can. And also please, if you could like and subscribe, we've got plenty more content coming up. And if you hit the notifications bell, you'll be notified as we drop that as well. And lastly, thank you for watching.